I'm gonna do something very out of character, and that is to use my last two brain cells of the day to talk about Batman. The movie, while wearing my Marvel shirt. Now, before you guys go off and be like, "Oh, Nikki, first you switched to iPhone, and now you're philandering with DC. You're changing." No, they invited me, and I'm not gonna refuse an invite. And in case you need to know where my loyalties lie, I literally have the Avengers A tattooed on my body, and I wear Natasha Romanoff's necklace all the time. Don't try me. Anyway, I'm gonna do a quick review of this movie. Now, my reputation precedes me. I am extremely biased towards Marvel, but if you also know me, you know I do my best to be fair. And you can completely disregard this review because it's coming from me if you want. But I'm gonna tell you right now that, like I said, I try to go into every movie without any expectations. I always say that because if you build up a lot of expectations in your head of what something should be, then you're definitely going to be disappointed because you're not in the writer's room. You're not there in the creative process. You know what I mean? And I just don't think it's fair. Like, as someone that's been a director and such, like, I just don't think it's fair to the creative team, right? This is a spoiler-free review, spoiler-ish. There's a tiny bit of spoilering that I will wait till the end to include. It's nothing big. It's just that I don't want to give too much away if you don't want to hear it. So I will give you I'll give you a warning before I go into that. So like I said, I try to go into movies without any expectations. This might be an exception for one reason and one reason only. That I feel like Batman has been portrayed in one way for a very, very long time. And if I am to have any expectations of any new Batman stuff coming out, like this one, I want to know more about Bruce Wayne. I want to be able to connect with Bruce Wayne. That has always been my biggest criticism, why I am team Iron Man versus Batman, Marvel versus DC. It's always been, for me, very hard to connect. I think with a lot of people, to really personally connect with some of the DC characters, and Bruce Wayne is definitely one. Like, it's just been all darkness and emo and gothicness and stuff like that for me. And that's all Batman, but I'm just like, I don't really know who Bruce is. You know what I mean? Like, I can't give you characteristics of Bruce. Any characteristics of Bruce I can give you basically just describe Batman. You know what I mean? So that's me. I'm gonna start off by saying I think this is one of the better Batman movies that I've seen. The score was fantastic. Some of you know I'm a music nerd, so I'm a sucker for a good score. And I think a score sometimes makes the entire fucking movie. The movie does focus more on Bruce being a detective. It really, to me, it borrows a lot from, to me, the BBC Sherlock. That's what I would liken it to. There's very much a Sherlock Moriarty thing going on throughout the movie. And so that was very compelling to me, to actually have like a mystery that's trying to be solved. And that's really cool. Selena Kyle's storyline was very compelling. That I liked seeing that. And that definitely held my interest. Everybody acted their asses off. Robert was a very fucking good Batman. Robert was a very fucking good Bruce Wayne. This motherfucker looked like shit the entire movie. He looked over it. He was just sweaty and had his eyeliner just running. Like, he just over it. He's tired. This is supposed to be like what, with like within his first 2 years of being Batman, so he's sloppy and shit. Like, it really does. He really, really did a good job. I think I will say I think he is the best Bruce Wayne / Batman that we've seen in a very long time. My favorite has always been Michael Keaton, but I am definitely gonna put Robert Pattinson up there. I think it's definitely a more accurate depiction of what a motherfucker would look like and behave like when he's doing all this crazy fuck shit in Gotham. Like, he really embodies that fucking exhaustion. But here's the thing, like, while there was like a lot more characterization of Bruce, to me it was still in the vein of how almost every other Batman movie has been, as far as darkness, as far as like just being very gothic, which honestly, like, you know, maybe that and maybe that's just what DC does best, and maybe that's just what the Batman universe does best, darkness and stuff, and maybe that's just not my cup of tea. But I will say that if like darkness and being emo and shit is where DC is gonna thrive, then like go all the way. You know what I mean? Like, don't hold back. Make it fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like, really take us on a psychological fuck up. And I think that they can still go further. Really? Further than Dark Knight Rises? Nigga? Yes, I really do. I really do. Actually, my mutual, officially Divinity, who was with me at this screening, brought up a very good point. Like I said, without spoiling too much, is that the villainy that's happening, like the fuck shit that is happening, it's really scary because it's not too far removed from our world. It's not something that couldn't happen right now, and it's not unlike things that have happened in real life, and that makes it very terrifying. Like I said, I still think they could have gotten a little scarier, but that element of it is like, yeah, this could happen in real life, and things like this have happened in real life, and so it hits a little closer to home. You know, the whole Bane storyline, like it's like, yeah, it could kind of happen, but it's still pretty like sensationalized and like a little bit out there. The shit that happened in this movie is not that far out there. And that's kind of a criticism that I've always given DC Comics, is that some of the shit that happens, you know, in the DC world, it's like, this is a nice story, but like, it's hard to connect because this wouldn't happen in the real world. And I feel like, even though the MCU obviously has like far out shit that would never happen in the real world, it still connects to the real world better for me, and it addresses real world issues. And they did that pretty well. If that was what their intention was to do, then they did it pretty fucking well in this movie, which is why I'll put this movie up there as one of the best Batman movies. Now, but now into some of the stuff that I'm just like, meh. I love Selina Kyle's storyline in here, but this is a problem with a lot of movies, is that very often a female character's storyline will be there, and even if it's compelling, it might be there just to further the plot of the lead male actor. Because you could almost take her entire, I feel, a lot of us feel that you could almost take her entire story out of this movie and it really wouldn't make that much of a difference, you know? And you can disagree with me if you want. And, you know, that's definitely something up for interpretation, but that was kind of a meh for me. Let's see, what else? Fuck, what else did I have? What else did I have? There was that. Not that much different from any other, not too much more different in tone from any other Batman movie that I've ever really seen. And a lot of my colleagues will disagree. They'll say that this one was grittier and this one was darker. And to me, like, from my perspective, like, I feel like Batman movies, especially like the Christian Bale trio of movies, that's always been gritty and dark to me. But again, up to your own interpretation. People have said that, I think people go a little far though in saying that, like, this movie puts DC on the map of where Marvel is cinematically, and I don't agree with that at all. The movie is definitely setting up for more, but I believe, and again, take this with a grain of, you can take this with a grain of salt, because everybody knows I'm a Marvel head. DC still has a long way to go if they are to ever catch up with Marvel cinematically. And I think that if they were, what would put them on the map is really honing in on creating a character that is relatable. And they went a step further with Bruce. They went a step further in this movie, but not all the way yet. Not all the way. And that's not to say anything about Robert Pattinson's acting. It was fantastic, but sometimes you're just limited by how much time you have, and you're limited by the creative vision, and that's just what it is. So I would not go as far to say as it puts DC cinematically on the map of where Marvel is, because that is still a weakness that I see in DC movies. Like I said, if Batman is gothic, is just going to be all gothic and gore and everything and darkness, then, like, really go in. But to be on the map with Marvel, like, I really want to know who the fuck Bruce is. And now here's the spoiler part. I'm going to give you some time to close out of this video. It's not very big. But it's important. But I have to say it because it's very important to me and what it has to do with my opinion of this movie. So I'm going to give you 5 seconds, and I'm going to count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. This is the first time that I have ever heard Bruce Wayne say, you know, maybe this vengeance shit is kind of fucking dumb. You know, like, for me, like I said, I am mostly enveloped in the Marvel world. So if I'm wrong, so be it. But me personally, and it was really just a moment. It was just a moment at the end, but that is something new that I haven't really seen enough of in Bruce Wayne, is realizing how much this vengeance agenda is putting him and the people that he loves on the path to destruction. And how, like, it's kind of an egotistical thing, which is, again, has always been one of my criticisms of Bruce Wayne. And in this movie, he actually realizes it. He actually, like, albeit in a monologue off screen, but he notes it. There is some level of accountability. And just thinking about, like, maybe I should not be on this road of revenge for something that happened when I was a child. Like, yes, it was traumatic, but maybe if I'm going to be the Batman, there has to be a bigger and better reason than just me getting anger out, like getting shit out, you know? That's always been my biggest criticism of Bruce Wayne. And this is the first time that I have ever seen that addressed. So for that reason, maybe there's hope. Maybe there's hope that Batman will evolve into something bigger than it has been in the last few years. That was a very important point for me, because it actually shows growth of Bruce's character, of Bruce Wayne himself. not Batman. You know, I've seen enough of Batman. I've seen enough of Batman, of the Dark Knight. We know Batman. I want to know Bruce. I want to get a look into his head. Like for me personally, that's what's important to me. You know, I've seen years of Batman, darkness, emo. No, I want to see growth. You know what? You know, I want to see evolution. And for the first time, we see that. And that is the reason why I will put this up there as one of the best Batman movies that have been made. As far as a scale of 1 to 10, I want to give it, as a movie overall, I give it an 8.5 and 9. I think. As just a movie, as an action movie, as a superhero movie, a little less. I'll give it like a 7.5. But for my reasons, in that, like, I need to know who you are. I don't know who you are. And honestly, like, as past Batman films for me, like Dark Knight, the Dark Knight series, as an action movie, it ranks so fucking high. Like, very fucking high. 9.5, 10, whatever. As a superhero movie, though, me in this, like, at the age that I am right now, at 29 years old, it ranks pretty low for me. Like a 7, 6.5, because like I said, for me, things that are important to me, it's important. I need to know who you are. I want to see growth of character. That's what makes me attached to you as a character. You know, that's what makes me intrigued. And that's what's been missing. But now we have a little bit of that for, you know, in this movie. So, but like I always say, don't take my word for it. Go see the movie, form your own opinions. And, you know, whether a movie is great or not, it really, really just depends on your perspective. You guys know that I'm a Marvel head, shamelessly biased towards Marvel. I'm a Marvel head who is biased and is trying to be as fair as I possibly can. And these are the fairest opinions that I can give you at this moment. I will say I may have taken 2 micro naps during the movie. Now, I don't know if that's because I was just tired traveling. It could chalk it up to that. Maybe I was just tired traveling. But the fact that I took 2 micro naps during the movie kind of says something. Like I said, it could be because I was very tired traveling. I flew into Los Angeles that day. Me and Divinity got ready and went straight there. So maybe I was just tired. I'm gonna go see it again. Like, probably this weekend. I'm gonna go see it again, and maybe I'll do a second impression review or something. But I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that. But like I said, don't take my word for it. Go see the movie yourself. Form your own opinions. Consider the source, me. But I do think you should see it. I do think you should go see it. You know, I would tell you guys if it was a waste of time. I would tell you guys. And I'm a very easy person to please, movie-wise. I'm a very easy person to please. I'm like, give me a compelling storyline, something that's interesting, give me some compelling characters, take me on a ride. I go in with no expectations. With the exception of this one, it was just like, I just want more Bruce. I want to know who you are. So, with that, I've been going on about this for about 20 minutes, and my last 2 brain cells are probably dead now. So before I ramble anymore, I'm gonna close out my review. But I do want to say thank you to Regal Cinemas and Warner Brothers for inviting me out to LA to that red carpet. It was fantastic. It was a great event, and I'm very grateful. So yeah, go see the Batman. Tell me what you think in the comments.